welcome to the Quiet Your Inner Mean Girl podcast, a place for you to find the courage you need to take the first step and every step thereafter to create the habits, the confidence, and the life that you love. I'm your host, health and life coach, Abby Hegney. Let's dive in. Welcome back to episode 21. How are you all doing today? I am doing fantastic this week. This week, I have felt on fire with a new level of energy, especially energy for my business. For the first time ever, I ran what I called Consult Week, where I opened my calendar up to help as many women as possible through my 1 hour consultation call. And it has been so much fun. The energy that I have felt from Consult Week has rippled through my coaching, my marketing, my morning workouts, my time with my family and my friends. And it's been the greatest example of how doing something differently, not necessarily more, just differently, can create an entirely different momentum in my life. I mentioned to my coach and some of the other women in a group coaching program that I'm in that I feel like I have entered my I'm not holding myself back error. So watch out, Taylor Swift. And it just feels so good because that's exactly the type of woman I want to call in to coach with me, to listen to this podcast, to read my emails, to come into my space and to find out what they are capable of. Women who are done holding themselves back, who are ready to quiet their inner mean girl and go after what they want. The habits, the confidence, the life that they want to create for themselves, the life that they deserve. That is the beauty of Consult Week, of my consultation call. And listen, if you did not get into Consult Week, don't worry. You can still schedule a consultation call. As long as I have a space available in my program, my consultation calls are open. But as I have gone through this week, I have felt such an intense appreciation for every woman that I have spoken to, because I know that scheduling that consultation call is a big step for them. It's the first step they take to create the habits and the confidence and the life that they want. It may be the first time that they have ever considered coaching or doing something differently than they've ever done before. It may be the first time that they've thought, I don't want to do this on my own. I want to feel supported. It may be the first time that they've ever considered investing in themselves. For many of them, it's the first step they take in believing in themselves, in believing in what's possible for them, what they are capable of. I know how valuable that is. I still remember the very first consultation call I did with the first coach I ever hired. Taking that step alone is transformative, is the first glimpse into the confidence they have that's been hiding beneath all of the self-doubt that they have felt. And then we spend 60 minutes dissecting that self-doubt and exploring their life, their desires, their limitations, their goals in a way that they never have before. They start to see things differently. Their confidence starts to build. They're inspired and motivated. And by the end of the call, they start to feel something that many of them have never felt before: trust in themselves. As I have gone through this week, I really thought about the power of trusting in yourself. And I truly believe it is the most powerful emotion that you can allow in. I want you to listen to this episode with open ears and an open heart and soak it all in. Think about where you currently are not trusting yourself or where your trust is quick to waver. And think about what would be different if you really, really trusted yourself. If you trusted that you could do it, that it was possible, that you were capable. What would be different if you trusted that you were going to figure it out, that you were willing to keep going, that you would celebrate every win and overcome every challenge that came your way? What if you trusted that you were exactly where you were meant to be, that your pace was the right pace for you, that things were working, that you were given a lesson, not a failure? Where would you be right now if you trusted yourself more than you doubted yourself? It's not that you will never doubt yourself ever again. Of course you will. You're a human being. We doubt ourselves all of the time. But when you trust yourself, you're willing to move yourself through that doubt and keep going because you know what's on the other side. The habits, the confidence, the balance, the ability to manage your stress and the heavy emotions, more presence, more patience, more joy, more fun. The life that you crave is on the other side. As I am recording this, I have all of these emotions bubbling up inside of me. And honestly, it makes me want to cry because I keep thinking this is it. It's all about trusting yourself, quieting your inner mean girl, believing in the possibility of your goals, in what you are capable of, showing up consistently, managing those hard emotions, not letting them stop you, taking giving up off of the table, using the time that you have and allowing it to be enough, focusing on one small step at a time. We tell ourselves stories all day, every day, that keep us from going after what we really want. We talk ourselves out of it instead of talking ourselves into it, but only because we don't trust that we'll do it, that we'll achieve our goal and get to where we want to be. And not getting there, to the place you want to be, to the version of you that you can envision, the habits that you want to create, how good you want to feel, not getting there feels hard. And instead of trusting that you just haven't gotten there yet, you give in to the self-doubt, to your inner mean girl. You tell yourself that you'll never be able to do it, and you don't even try. Or you start, and as soon as the first challenge comes along, you give up. Your inner mean girl tells you that you can't, and you see that challenge as evidence that she's right, that you can't do it. You don't trust that you'll be able to keep going. You don't trust that you will figure it out. So you stop trying. You take on the false identity of someone who can't do it. You tell yourself that you're not ready. But what you're really telling yourself is, I don't trust that I can do it. You tell yourself that you're too busy or that you don't have the time. But what you're really saying is, I don't trust that I'll use my time, or I don't trust that I'll be able to manage my time. You tell yourself that you're afraid that it won't last. But really, what you're saying is, I don't trust that I won't give up. Maybe your lack of trust in yourself is because you've never given yourself the opportunity to figure it out. And maybe it's because you have given yourself the opportunity, but you've never allowed yourself to see it all the way through the finish line. Somewhere between the starting line and the finish line, you gave up. You lost any ounce of trust that you had. And the more you give up, the more you start and stop, the more you listen to your inner mean girl, the more your self-doubt grows and the less trust that you have. What you're not seeing is that the moment you set a goal for yourself, the moment you envision a different life for yourself, one with more balance, with more consistency, more patience, less stress, more confidence in who you are and what you do, you whispered to yourself, you can do this. I believe in you. I trust you. I tell my clients all of the time, unmotivated people don't set goals for themselves. They don't. They're fine where they are. They don't need to change. They don't want to change. They're okay. They settle. If you have a goal, if you have a vision for the habits and the confidence and the life you want to be living, trust that you are meant to have it. Trust that you are capable of achieving it because you are. But you have to be willing to see it all the way through. So often we set these imaginary timelines for ourselves. We think it should take us X amount of time to do what we want to do. And if it doesn't happen within that timeline, we tell ourselves that we can't do it. I just told one of my clients the other day that I used to live in the 2-week cycle. I'd give myself 2 weeks to stick with a new habit, to lose weight, whatever it was that I was trying to do. 2 weeks. It was always 2 weeks. And if I didn't do it within 2 weeks, I was on to the next thing because clearly it didn't work. And maybe for you, it's not 2 weeks. Maybe it's a month or 2 or 6 months. Whatever the timeline is that you set for yourself, I want you to think about it as it is just a theory. It is the amount of time you thought that it was going to take to get the results that you want. Sometimes we're right. Sometimes we even surprise ourselves and it happens faster than we thought it would. And sometimes, I'm going to say most times, it takes longer. The problem is when it takes longer, we use that as evidence that we can't do it, that it's never going to happen. We give up, we switch course, we start all over again. We make it harder. And we do it all over again without building the most important foundation: trust in ourselves. Think about what would be different if you hit that timeline you had set for yourself, and instead of believing you couldn't do it, that it wasn't going to happen, you trusted that you were making progress, that the work you had already put in was worth it. It just wasn't enough. And I know we want the work we put in to be enough, but sometimes it isn't. And I hear this from my clients all of the time. They come to me because they have tried everything and nothing works. Or they've worked so hard and they just haven't gotten the results that they want. And sometimes the work we put in isn't enough. That doesn't always mean that we have to work harder or do more. Sometimes we just have to do things differently. We just need to make a small, subtle shift. Sometimes we just need to keep going. But we can't do this when instead of trusting our progress, we tell ourselves that we can't do it. Inside Confident Mind and Body, my clients evaluate their journey throughout the 6 months that we work together. Every week, we talk about what is working. We celebrate. We build upon the steps that they are taking, the confidence that they are finding within themselves. They take what works and they keep going. And we also look at what's not working. The steps they took that they thought would work, but didn't turn out as expected. We talk about what they can do differently, what they want to do differently. When you evaluate, you look at what's not working from a completely different perspective. You see, oh, this doesn't work for me, but here are all of the things that do. It empowers you to modify, to make different decisions, to keep showing up. And every time you show up, you trust yourself a little bit more. It's no longer, this isn't working, so I must be incapable of reaching my goal. I might as well give up. Instead, it's, I've got this. I know what works. I see what's not working. I'm figuring this out. I'm making progress. I'm not done here. And I know that trusting yourself may feel very foreign to you right now. It may start with looking at what you can do today and trusting that the 10 minutes that you have for yourself is enough, or that the walk that you can take during your lunch break is progress. It may be trusting that you can make the dinner you had planned or shut off work at 5 p.m. to spend time with your family and not feel guilty about it. It may be thinking about what you want and exploring all of the reasons that you do believe that you can do it. It may be hearing the stories of your inner mean girl and choosing to not listen to them, even if that's just for today. You don't have to jump into the deep end of trust. In fact, I encourage you to wade into the kiddie pool of trust first. Start small. Start with what you already know. One of my clients recently did this. She came to me with a goal that she had for herself, but she was feeling really pessimistic about her ability to achieve that goal. Her brain was focusing on all of the reasons that she didn't think that she could do it. Her inner mean girl was feeding her all of the stories of the times that she had tried and had failed. So I turned her around. I asked her what she did know, all of the ways that she had already shown up consistently in her life, all of the things that she was doing all day, every day that she felt confident in. We grounded her in what she could do, in what she can do, in what she was already doing. When you can see how it's already a part of your life, then it becomes about growing your capacity. You're not reinventing the wheel, you're keeping the wheels going. You're starting to move them in a direction that you have been turning yourself away from for far too long. And you start to trust that you're moving yourself towards the place where you want to be. I can remember the day that I decided to trust myself. The day that I decided I wasn't going to hate on my body anymore. I remember the day where I decided this is enough. I couldn't jump to loving my body. My gosh, that felt like way too big of a jump for me to make. I had spent way too long hating on my body. I actually had no idea how I would love my body. I didn't know if I would ever be able to love my body. But I trusted that I could stop hating my body. I trusted that I could stop criticizing it every time I looked in the mirror or every time I put on a pair of jeans or put on a pair of shorts. I trusted that I could stop the negative thoughts that wanted to rise to the surface. I trusted that I could tell my inner mean girl, not today. And for a while, that was enough. But every time I turned myself around and I trusted that I could live my life without criticizing my body, my trust grew, my confidence grew, and it started to ripple through my habits and the rest of my life. I let go of that 2 week cycle and I trusted my journey. I decided that I was going to keep showing up, that it didn't matter how long it took me to get there. I wanted to live life without falling victim to my inner mean girl. And before I could even think about that, I started to see how it was working. Before I knew it, I felt myself moving towards the habits, the confidence, the life that I wanted faster than ever before. That is the God's honest truth of how I created the habits that I am grounded in today. It's how I let go of the obsession I had with the scale, how I found my body's happy weight without all of the restrictions and the counting and the tracking and all of the deprivation that I once felt. It's how I built confidence in who I am and what I do and in the decisions that I make every single day. I trusted myself to keep going. If you find yourself thinking, yeah, but I really have been at this for so long. I'm working so hard. Nothing seems to be working. I want you to turn yourself around. What do you know? What is working? If you trusted yourself enough to keep going, to take one more step, to not give up on your goals, to take giving up off of the table, what would you do? What would you do today? Trust that you have a goal for yourself because you are meant to have it. You are meant to achieve it because you are. And if this episode ignited even the tiniest spark within yourself, fuel that flame. Go out, make a decision, take the first step or the next step today. Get the wheels moving in the direction that you want to be going. And trust that this time you're going to keep them moving. You're going to keep going. You're going to keep showing up. And you will get there. I promise you, you will get there. All right, my friends, that is episode 21. I will talk to you next week. You are ready to quiet your inner mean girl. I invite you to join me inside Confident Mind and Body, my private coaching program, where you will learn to quiet your inner mean girl and create the habits, the confidence, and the life that you love. Just visit wellnesswithabbyh.com and schedule a free consultation. Let's